The year 1998, you guys actually released the amazing 15-track debut album titled Because No One Stopped Us. I was wondering if you can actually tell our viewers a bit more backstory on this amazing project. And of course, what was it like actually working alongside Hourglass and 206 Records for this particular release?
Well, we're digging deep here. Okay, this is good. So that first record, so Hourglass Records was my label. And when I say a label, I mean me. There was not a staff. I had friends that were just sort of selling CDs at shows, and that was about it. I kind of handled the Canadian stuff, and then 206 Records, Chris Barnes out of Seattle was our first, sort of interest from the U.S. And so he sort of handled the Northwest, and um, we recorded that with our friend Kyle Richardson, who I'm still good friends with all these years later. And Kyle did the whole record for the cost of a kick drum mic. I think we paid $320 for it, and I think we did 5 days. He had this 8-track 1 inch uh, 1 inch tape studio, a little Tascam or something, and he had a little studio sort of made around it, and the tape machine broke like day two or something like that. So trying to find somebody with this perfect like 1 inch Tascam like tape, it was pretty impossible. But we found somebody, and we ended up doing the last part of the record. Keep in mind we did 15 songs, or at least the majority of the record there in 5 days. So because it was 8-track, it was very much, we didn't have a lot of room for overdubs. So, you know, at the end of it, when you have one track left and you have 3-part harmonies to do, we would, three of us sitting around the mic trying to like, Beach Boy style, like nail it or not nail it and do it again. And that's really how we finished up the record. So that was our first experience doing a full length record. And then I put it out on the two labels.
And when you actually mentioned a few moments ago that Hourglass was actually your label, honestly, as a Belvedere fan, I actually did not know that. So I have to dig into that if you don't mind me asking, because obviously
Sure.
back in the day, a lot of individuals were searching for a deal. They weren't really like they didn't have that mindset that you did to actually really go out there and actually create their own label and imprint. What actually made you decide to do that in the '90s and create your own label?
Well, the band wasn't really like what I wanted to do, or not necessarily what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I was going to be the person behind the bands, just promoting them. That was what I really felt strongly about when I got out of high school. Um, and I remember we opened up for Gob at the university, and that was sort of our first like kind of big all ages shows. And I remember during that show, like a light just went off, and I realized that I wanted to be in a band, like not just make music, but actually tour on it. And so that was a big shift. But yeah, the label, I started in '95. The first record I put out was Downway's first record, and I put out two of their records, and I ended up putting out 13 albums over the 7 or 8 years that the label was around.